My name is Sarah Greeno, and I'm the curator of this exhibition, Looking In, Robert Frank's The Americans. 2008 and 2009 are the 50th anniversary of the publication of The Americans, and this book is generally considered to be the single most important book of photographs published since World War II. He divided the book into 4 chapters or parts, each one beginning with a photograph of a flag, and each one which addresses sort of a different aspect of American culture. The first picture is one of a flag blowing across the side of a building, and we see, looking out the window, 2 women. These are the people who, in using Frank's terminology, are looking. The next picture in the sequence is of city fathers from Hoboken, New Jersey. And our eye immediately goes to the figure on the far right-hand side with his closed eyes and his very fatuous smirk. And you can see that he is certainly one of the people who is not looking, but acting more blindly. This photograph is called Trolley New Orleans, made in 1955. It's probably one of the most celebrated photographs in the book. It shows a racially segregated trolley in New Orleans. It is an amazing sort of sequence, progression of images, not only from white to black, but obviously from the older figures to the younger children who are looking out at us more quizzically. Then the heart of the sequence, this African-American man who stares out, looking plaintively at Frank and also at us as if questioning his plight. If you look at the contact sheet for The Americans, you can see that Frank was photographing on the streets in New Orleans, photographing people, pedestrians on the street, and just turned around and happened to catch a glimpse of this trolley passing along behind him. And in one exposure took this really extraordinary picture. The second chapter ends with this photograph of the seemingly endless road stretching off into the New Mexico desert. We all know that New Mexico is the land of sunshine, and if you look at the contact sheet, you can see that he made the photograph on a bright blue day. Yet when he came time to print it when he was back in New York, he made a very, very deep, dark exposure in order to emphasize the stripes in the pavement itself, the line on the road, which just seems like this silver ribbon stretching back as far as the eye can see. This photograph, probably in particular, encapsulates what was considered to be very new about Frank's style, and it really appalled many older photographers at that time, particularly his use of blurred, out-of-focus forms, this man looming in the far right of the picture, or the out-of-focus woman in the background, the slightly tilted horizon, all of which sort of gives a sense of immediacy to the pictures, but was completely against the standards for what constituted a great photograph in the 1950s. This one of Political Rallies Chicago begins the 4th chapter of The Americans, the last chapter. Notice the way the tuba has completely obscured the face of the person behind him, as if to suggest that these symbols of American democracy, the marching band, the bunting above it, has drowned out really the voice of the average American who stands behind it. Or a photograph like the one of Los Angeles with the neon light and the sign directing the pedestrian to walk seemingly only in one direction suggests that Americans are perhaps a people who obey rules, conforming to the dictates of others without questioning the reasons behind them. Frank ends the book with this photograph here, US 90 en route to Del Rio, Texas. It's a picture of his wife, Mary, with their young son, Pablo, and if you look very carefully, there's sort of a mound of hair in between the two of them. That's their daughter, Andrea. They're all nestled there in the car in the fading light of day. It's also a picture, though, that very much expresses an attitude that Frank has had throughout his career of standing outside and trying to look inside, standing on the margins perhaps of a society and culture and trying to look in and analyze it more intensely and identify things within it that are more true.